right, here we are with Robert McClendon, and I've heard people call you, is it Dink?
Dink, yeah.
Where's that come from?
I have no idea. I've been that my entire life.
Okay.
And I thought I was the only one, but in my lifetime I've met 3 other ones.
Oh, okay. So
somebody ought to know.
So Dink owns, he's owner here of D&D Cycles, and he was telling me, we've looked at your cool bikes, and in fact, we took a video of the old Norton BSA and the Tiger in the, what do you call that building?
Yes, we call it the race shop.
The race shop,
yeah, because
okay.
one area is for race bike building. And
I gotcha, okay. So you were telling me some other stuff. Tell me about like this. You've got some parts at Barber's. He was just telling me about a bike in Barber's that has his speed parts.
Correct.
So,
and pretty much the same speed parts this one has. We make our own big bore kits. This engine we built out of several engines we got from Triumph, but we had someone in California do the cylinder head work.
Okay.
This one has Suzuki Hayabusa valve train.
wow.
So you can get more of a radical cam.
Oh.
And it's 904 cc's.
Okay.
And it's got a hydraulic clutch instead of a cable. There's a lot of work done to this.
Okay.
And a friend of ours in South Florida, Walt Metzler, who's an awesome machinist, made all these parts.
I got you. This looks like that dirt track. I bet that's the same on Rob's dirt track racer you showed me.
Real similar.
Yeah.
This way you can take it, you can get to the clutch without a lot of, you just pull that cover off.
Yeah. So this bike was a racer where?
This was a AMA Pro Flat Track bike.
Wow, okay.
And
Gotcha.
several riders rode it over the few years, and
Okay.
now this is a aftermarket frame. Those are no longer legal.
Oh, really?
Correct. You have to use a stock frame now.
Okay. As people would, they come in there underweight and everything, I guess, and they say it's not.
The idea was keep costs down. You
Gotcha.
could buy a bike and convert it to a flat tracker without having to buy a several $1,000 frame.
I got you. Right. And to standardize it too, I guess they make them all have the same, huh? Well, that's cool, and it's disc brakes on the back.
That's the only brake it has.
No brakes on the front. Yeah.
The only reason the vintage flat tracker has a brake on the front at the moment is, normally you do a flat track, which is just an oval.
Yeah.
That one was set up the last time we rode it for a TT course, which has right and left turns and some jumps. So you need a front brake.
Oh, okay.
But we have a wheel for that bike, just like this one, a spool with no brake.
Right. Cool. So you still build motorcycles and rebuild them, right?
Not as many anymore. We rebuild. There's a 73 Bonneville rebuilding and a Norton Commando, which is 72.
Yeah.
But custom-wise, my son built that one.
Oh, really?
Now this is a 72, but we built it to look like a 66 TT Special.
Oh.
Same paint, TT pipes.
That's gorgeous.
And so it's a vintage, it's a retro, it's newer, but it's retro.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of fun to ride.
Yeah. It's gorgeous.
And that one was just a complete restoration.
Yeah, we talked about the Norton. So is that the same model as the Norton we looked at out in the race shop next to the?
It is.
The Triumph, okay.
That's the stock one. That one's a 74 850, and the red one of mine is also an 850.
Okay. And
the one we're building is a 72 Combat Commander, a performance version.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and what was interesting to me too is I don't think I've ever seen a Norton that wasn't black with gold stripes. So he said that was the OEM color on it.
Yeah, you could get them in that metal blue.
That's cool. Very cool. All right, very cool. Well, so I'm glad to know you got speed parks and you bore stuff out, because I'm gonna bring my KLR 650 to you, and you can bore it out to 700. Top speed will go from 65 to 70.
Right. We are working on a Triumph. There's a race called the Thruxton Cup. It's all Triumph Thruxtons.
Okay.
We raced those for 5 years back when they first had the Thruxton Cup, and my son was national champion 3 times.
Really?
Out of
Wow.
5 years.
See, we interviewed him. He's so humble. He didn't bring any of that up. He was just talking about the shop and how you got all the parts for everything.
And right now, we built one for a friend of mine who lives in Arizona. He just got a first and a second at Laguna Seca on his Thruxton.
Oh, really?
And we have one on the bench back there now. It belongs to a guy in Mobile that we're just freshening him back up.
Wow.
Freshening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm privileged that y'all are just checking the valves on my Triumph Tiger, just the regular old,
In fact,
riding
the
in the
valves
street
are out
there.
of it now, and he's changing 5 shims at the moment.
On mine?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, so it. Well, that's good to know that. So you spend most. I've noticed. I've sat up here all day. You spend most of your time, I guess, in the shop. Is that
yeah,
right?
Yeah. This is one business, but we're divided into 2. And my wife runs this end of it.
Right. Okay.
And I'm in charge of the vintage parts and things. I know
Okay.
that, but that's my business.
And so,
That's how we stayed married over 40 years. Right. And worked
Right.
together, right.
Yeah.
But that's my end of it, and that's where I prefer.
Well,
to
and
be.
that's where your love and passion is too, isn't it? Instead of
And-
selling bikes, I guess.
We started out as a service-only shop back in 1980.
Yeah.
And I prefer to be back there because a lot of guys, they'll hire mechanics. I'm not pointing anybody out.
Yeah.
But, and the guy will say, oh, yeah, it's ready to go. Well, I can listen. I'll say, no, you need to go back in there and take another look.
Yeah.
Most shops have a service writer. He doesn't have a clue about engines.
Exactly.
I do.
Right.
So I can keep a close eye on what they're doing and
that's
whether or not
great.
they're doing it correctly. And that's my
Yeah.
idea.
Well, that gives me a lot of confidence because, I can't say this on the video, but from time to time I may exceed the speed limit just a little bit on that. So it's good to know that I'm going to be safe on it.
But
Everything's right.
it's just the way things are, and sometimes it's an adjustment for technicians that come to work for me because I've been doing it longer than they've been born.
Right.
And oh yeah, I think it's okay. No, it's not okay. Let me tell you, and I can generally give them advice on how to do it the correct way if they need to.
Yeah. Well, that
And,
is
because-
awesome. Awesome.
So I insist on it being correct when it
Right.
leaves.
Right. Well, that's D&D Cycles, folks. Dink McClendon and son Rob. We're going to see Rob.
The old
probably.
grumpy guy.
The old grumpy guy. I haven't seen you be grumpy. You did say it was a little hot outside, but that's not being grumpy.
Get grumpier the hotter it gets.
And just if you're hungry, then it adds another level, doesn't it? Well, thanks so much for taking care of my bike. It's a wonderful time to meet
Do you
you.
want to take a peek?
Yeah, sure. All right.